Hello guys, welcome to a new video of the Fischer series. In the last video we ended it off in the Eastern States Open, and today we have a very interesting match. It's Dr. Grandmaster World Champion Max Euwe, the only Dutch World Champion, against Bobby Fischer. And this is a very interesting and nice match. It's a 2-game match, and it was Fischer's first real experience against a really top GM. We'll see how he plays. It was a very, very nice tactical blow by Max Euwe in the first game. And that's a game we're going to show you right now. And let's see what happens. So Max Euwe starts with d4. A very normal opening. Knight f6, c4, e6, and knight c3. So here Bobby Fischer can go for the Nimzo, going with bishop b4. Or he can go for d5 or perhaps c5, going for a Benoni type of opening. Bobby Fischer decides to go for d5. So till now it's very standard, nothing spectacular. And here Max Euwe decides to go for the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit declined. That's fine. And he goes for a bishop g5. So you're pinning the knight. If taken, I have to take back with the queen and the pawn will fall. So Bobby Fischer pins his knight. Very standard, e3. And now it's very common to play c6. And then we have this what's called the Karlsblad structure. A very well-known pawn structure in chess. But Bobby Fischer decides to first play h6, hoping that the bishop will go away. And Max Euwe still keeps the pin on. And now Fischer plays c5, which is a bit more of an aggressive move. You could have also played c6 to have this very nice pawn chain. And later on we will see that this will be a fatal error, because this pawn would turn out to be very important. So let's see what happens. And now comes bishop d3, very normal, developing, wanting to castle soon. And now comes a knight c6. So the advantage of playing c5 instead of c6 is that you can put your knight on the normal active square, which is c6. Now comes knight g to e2, simply wanting to castle soon. The knight is nicely developed. And perhaps you want to bring it to f4 later to pressure the central pawns like this. Now comes c takes d4, e takes d4, and with this move Fischer actually created what's called a queen's pawn, IQP, isolated queen's pawn, for both sides. And this is, well, if you have an isolated queen's pawn, it's mostly that you have more attacking chances because you have open lines. But on the long term, if, for example, white didn't have an IQP and black did have one, you want to put the knight behind the IQP and then put the pieces behind it and try to attack the pawn and then win it like that. But now both sides have a weakness on the middle of the board. So Fischer castles, Max Euwe castles as well. And now comes bishop e6. And with bishop e6, well, it's an okay move, nothing wrong with it, but the scope of the bishop is obviously limited by the pawn because he has to defend it. And now comes, let's see, bishop to c2. And with bishop to c2, it's a very nice move. You're actually saying, I want to give some space for my queen to have this battery and go for a checkmate later on. So this will be very dangerous. And now comes a bishop to e7, simply bringing the bishop back since there's no pin anymore on the knight. So there's no point in taking and giving away the bishop pair. So here comes a knight to f4. And in this position, like you can see, black actually, if you don't know the position very well, it seems very solid. You have everything defended. As you can see, no weaknesses at all. Like this pawn is defended 3 times. The knights will come in. I will connect the rooks. nothing wrong with this position. But the problem here is that after bishop takes a knight, the bishop has to take back. We can bring the queen to d3, and we have this very nice pressure. And you cannot simply play g6, because after knight takes e6, f takes e6, this pawn will fall. And then we have to bring the bishop back, then this pawn will fall, and you're just 2 pawns down. So this can get very complicated, and you really have to know this position well, and you cannot simply just develop. So Fischer probably didn't see it or didn't know this position at that time, but it can get very dangerous. So you either have to play, for example, bishop to d6, attack this knight, kick the knight away, or let it take your bishop straight away, so we open the rook. Or we have to play queen to d7, simply defending this bishop and defending the pawn as well. But those are really the moves, or playing queen to d7 and attack the knight with your queen. But Bobby Fischer here plays queen to b6. And this, as black, if you don't know it, it might seem very normal, like what's even going on here? Am I really in danger? I'm attacking 2 pawns at the same time, right? It can't be a bad move. So here, Max Euwe goes for his tactical blow. First, bishop takes f6. Now bishop takes f6, queen d3, threatening checkmate. You cannot play g6, so you're already in trouble here. Fischer sees this right now, so he realizes it, that he cannot play g6 to defend his king. So he plays a rook to d8. But that doesn't really matter. So we can give a check here straight away. The king has to sidestep. But in this complication, we need to have the rook on e1. So either the f rook to e1 or the a rook to e1. Why? Well, we have a double attack on this pawn. So when we sacrifice the knight for the pawn, the bishop or the rook has to take back. Then we take it again, and when the rook is on e1 and the queen will come in, it will be a checkmate like this. So we're in move 15, and Max Euwe already found, well, basically a mating net, you could say. So here he plays rook a to e1, and Fischer is like, okay, I can see what you're doing. Let me attack your queen and the bishop. So I take either one of them, and this attack will be harder to be done. So, and Max Euwe is like, okay, but if I play queen h7 now, and you move your king away, only move, you can't take my bishop. It's fine. I'm already in. Like, there's no way to stop this queen right now. So here, Max Euwe actually wants Fischer to take the bishop. Why? Well, in this position, okay, the knight is attacking this pawn twice. It's defended twice, like this. But the knight is also defending it. So we have to lure this knight away. So Max Euwe plays a3. Now we have knight takes c2. And now Max Euwe plays this brilliant move. Knight takes d5. You can either take with the f knight or the c knight. Fischer has to take back with the rook. And after knight takes d5, this is the moment when Fischer resigned. Simply bishop takes d5. This will be be a mate in 1. You cannot play g6 to cover this square like this, because then your queen is hanging and it's also lost. So there's literally nothing you can do in this position. So Fischer resigned and Max Euwe won the first game. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.